Hi guys! Welcome to my rented camper van. This is the Honeybee. She's a Ford Transit and I rented her in Bristol, England. And I've taken her over 1,400 miles throughout the UK. Why don't you come inside and take a tour?
Take my whole hand.
Welcome to the inside of the rented camper van that I've been using for the last week in the UK. So what we have over here is the kitchen or kitchenette. Very simple, just a 2-burner propane stovetop. It's worked great this entire time. And a little mini sink. This is actually pretty cute. They made it out of a little mixing bowl, very simple, and it's operated by a hand pump. There's a freshwater and a gray water tank down below. And so you can get enough pressure to do your dishes, brush your teeth. It's a simple system and it may not work for everybody. There's definitely no hot water, but I found that once you get used to it, it works pretty well for doing dishes and anything you might need. Over here we have the storage for different things that you might need. Dishes, pots and pans, maybe a little gin. You can't go to the UK and not get gin, by the way. This camper van is actually called the Honeybee, so they've put in a lot of cute little decor items that represent bees. For instance, instead of using knobs, they've decided to cut holes that look like little honeycombs. It never occurred to me that knobs get in the way in a tiny space, but they do, so this alleviates that problem. And they're all magnetized, so they stay in place for the most part when you're going down the street. Of course, you go over a big pothole or something like that, or maybe you're not used to roundabouts in the UK and you go a little quick around them. They might fly open, but for the most part, they stay closed. Down here, we have a little mini fridge. It works off of electricity. This whole camper van is powered by solar, so this is a pretty energy efficient little fridge and freezer. It's worked great this entire trip. And it's an RV style mini fridge, so it has a little lock here so it doesn't fly open when you're going down the road. So in case of emergencies, they have a porta-john provided. It's a chemical toilet, simple to use, very basic. You pull it out, you use it in here. But for the most part, we're using public restrooms because it's a small space and you don't really want to go to the bathroom in here necessarily unless you have to. But sometimes when you're parked in a public area, it's the only option that you have, especially if it's the middle of the night. Moving on, the water tanks are over here. We got the fresh water and the gray water. So in here is where I've been storing like dry goods, some stuff for cooking. I'm in the UK, so I have Irish stew down here. I think I have some peas. Oh yes, British green peas, very important. And lastly, chicken tikka marsala, which I found is a very common dish in the UK. Had no idea. Over here we have more storage, and this is actually where the inverter is located for the solar. And another thing that they've done here that's really cool is they've included a stereo system and USB plugs. You can plug in your phone here and listen to music. We have more storage, but this is kind of a cute area because they've included a lot of bee stuff. So there's the bee book. This is kind of fun. I think I'm going to throw this somewhere today because they told me this is something that they like to include. It's called a seed bomb, and it's a pollinator. Basically, you throw it and it decomposes and it creates a bunch of wildflowers for honeybees. I've traveled, I think, around 1,500 miles with this camper van, so I assume more renters, more seed bombs, maybe more bees. I've been camping in the middle of December, crossing over into January. I spent New Year's in the camper van, so it's been kind of cold here. I went all the way up to the Isle of Skye in Scotland, and so I definitely needed a heater in the camper van that I was going to rent. This heater is a propane heater, so it's operated by this little simple dial on the wall. It has a fan option and a heat option, and it comes out, you hear it kick on. Comes out of this vent down here, and it heats this place up really quickly. I don't even have to use it the entire night. I usually just warm this place up turn it off, you know, right before I go to bed, or sometimes in the middle of the night if it's really cold. And also the comforters kept me really warm as well. So it's really well done, and the fact that I haven't been cold hardly at all on this trip, and it's gotten down to below freezing. Up here, another important thing to note is the ventilation. So whenever I'm cooking, they told me to pop this up in this little space. You can easily smoke yourself out if you're burning chicken or whatever you might do. Up above the driver and passenger seats, they have the speaker system that was connected to the cable that I showed you guys earlier. And then this is where I've been keeping most of my clothes. And just a little shout out to these little packing bags. These are great, and they've been fitting perfectly up here. And I'll show you where I've been keeping my suitcase in a little bit. It's actually in a compartment on the outside of the camper van. One other thing that they have in the camper van that I actually haven't used very much, but it is an option that they've included, is a table. So that's what this little thing is for. These spin around, and then you put the tabletop on right here. And so you're able to have breakfast here for 2 once you spin the seats around. Let me serve you, sir. Here's your mush. Yum.
That's all we can afford.
Yes. Another thing that I really like is they have a shoe area in a way. Like this is almost like doormat material that they've lined right here in this little step up. And I found it's a great place to wipe my shoes off and keep my shoes, actually, because they've been getting kind of muddy here in the UK in winter. And this is what it looks like when it's totally closed up in here. And now we're home and we have privacy, just like that. So the camper van is about 6'2" on the inside, I believe. And I'm gonna say that it's about 5'3" or 4", since I'm 5'4", and I can stretch my arms out here, in width. So for me, it's plenty comfortable to live in this. Obviously I have a lot of headroom. I can even get dressed in here, no issue. One thing that they've done that has created a low profile for the ceiling is the recessed lighting. And I really like the switch that they've used. Again, very minimal. It's just touch. You just touch the outside. It's not hot or anything. Half of the camper van is the bedroom. And some people might say, well, that's a waste of space, but I gotta tell you, this bed is so comfortable. I've slept in a hotel room a couple times on this trip as well, and this bed is more comfortable than the hotel. Hands down, most comfortable bed I've slept in the UK. So this is the back side of the camper van. So you can hang your coats, like winter coats back here, especially if they're really muddy. That's nice to keep them outside instead of inside of the van. And this is a nice area to keep big bags like suitcases. Or they have like cleaning supplies in here. I've been keeping my suitcase in this one here, and they also have like extra blankets. This bracket keeps them in place. I bet you guys want to meet Honeybee's actual owners and builders. Let's do it. I'm Kat.
And I'm John.
And this is the Honeybee. Ever since I was young, I've always wanted a van, and I had many childhood holidays in a VW camper van, and I've always been banging on about it to John. Anyway, we decided to get one and convert one at John's parents' place in Wales. And it's just a wonderful way to see the world. There's an amazing community of people with vans, which we've met recently through Quirky Campers, and just out on the road. So it's just a wonderful way to live.
It took us about 4 months in total from start to finish. So started with a courier van and did everything, including all the plumbing, electrics and all the gas. And Kat did all the upholstery.
Yeah, I've just started my own little business called Cat Upholstery, and I did all of the upholstery, so I was in charge of soft furnishings.
There's all sorts of interesting vans out there, so it's great to get some inspiration, and you can build anything that you really want. This is far removed from your average boring camper van experience. So
it's a little pod of joy, really. That's how I like to think of it.
So this van was an old CityLink van, so it's very, very bright yellow. And as soon as we got it, we realised the only word to call it would be the Honeybee. And the paint is so bright when it's the summertime, insects are attracted to it. So
also, the honeybee is endangered, so the educational slant of it, we wanted to make people aware that the honeybee needs a little bit of help in life. So there's lots of books and seed bombs and things for people to have a look at and educate themselves about it.
always planning the next adventure. We're keen to go to Norway. But then I'm a really keen mountain biker, so I'm quite keen to create another van which is more geared up for cyclists, so perhaps raise the bed up and have space for bikes underneath and have a small workshop and that sort of thing.
There's more plans, always plans.
And this project was so much fun from start to finish. It's been great to learn loads of new skills and see how it can be improved for next time around.
Welcome back. So I've had a great time renting the Honeybee van. I would definitely do it again. I can't wait to do another adventure in a camper van. I might be a van lifer in the making. So don't let people tell you that you can't road trip around the UK or that you should just take the trains, because there's definitely another way to travel that's really affordable. I didn't spend a single dollar on accommodation this entire trip because I was able to stealth camp most of the time. If you want more information on my trip around the UK, make sure to click the link in the description. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys next time on my next adventure.